I'm a beast, got jungle fever. Don't smoke, but a breakdown. The chiva. Feel my senorita, you should meet her. Buenos dias, clean cut, bitch impressed with stock beamers. I want property dual citizen with the visa. My niggas Ninja Turtles, call me Tracy Sensei. Knock him, mold me a nigga, get out.
No, man, it's like you're the only one I could really talk to about it, man. Because, you know, like, you always have the right thing to say, you know?
Yeah.
That's wise, homie. That's wise. I never thought about it like that. What up, fools? Hey, there he is. We've been waiting for you, fool. Hey. What's up?
Yeah.
So what's cracking, y'all? What we about to get into? Yeah, man, same thing we do every day, man. Try to take over the world.
Yeah.
I was thinking we could smoke a little bit of weed, feel me?
Gonna smoke a blunt.
Oh, man, right on, man. I ain't really smoking like that no more. Man, this fool. Always clowning, bro. You straight playing, man. Stop playing, fool. Nah, man. Like, for reals. I ain't smoking no more. This fool. Why didn't you just tell me, bro? I got something. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I think this is just a regular pen.
Sometimes you just gotta vape it out.
Nah, man. I'm not really vaping either. I'm not smoking at all. Oh, this fool, man. I swear, man, you always playing, man.
This one.
Nah, y'all, like, for reals. I'm not smoking at all. Like, I got, like, health problems and shit. I should be, like, affecting my heart. Like, for reals, I'm not smoking weed at all anymore. Man. Man. I didn't know it was like that.
Yeah.
I mean, my bad, y'all. Like, I was just trying to kick it, man. Like, my bad to, like, put a downer on everybody or nothing. But, yeah, man, if I could just kick it, not smoke. Nah, man, nah. I'm really glad you told us, man.
Shit told us, bro.
My bad, y'all. Like, I just wanted to kick it. I didn't really expect to get into all that, you know? Yeah, man, just, you know, just talk to the homies, man.
Right.
I mean, right on, y'all. I'm glad y'all understand. Bruh, don't even trip. I'm gonna make a bong right quick. We're gonna throw some ice cubes in here. We'll be smoking up in this bitch in no time. Hey, bro, where you going, bro? Bong, the healthiest way to smoke.
Healthiest way to smoke.
I wonder what his problem was.
Rude.
You see what happens when you try to be accommodating to the homie?
What is up with it? So we just watched the video, man, by Tony Primo. This my boy, and we up at Edge Studios right now. It's colder than a motherfucker, but that video's hella funny, Tony, because it's like when you stop trying to do something, you know, like there's times when your folks will be your worst goddamn enemies.
It was well, what up, Martrice, and right on for having me on your show. But yeah, it was like anytime I told the homies like I wasn't smoking weed, it was always such like it always went into like a 20-minute explanation, and like it was like, nah, but you can like you can still smoke a little bit though, right? But Funny enough, I am smoking a weed again, so I guess they wore me down. You feel me?
And you know that your producer can relate with every one of those three guys on that screen.
Shout out to my homie Alex, who was like, "Dude, that's all your different. That's all the different. I know every single one of those tones, you know." But yeah, man, that's probably what I've been doing a lot lately. More than although I do have some poetry for you today, I've been writing a lot of like skits and stories. That's kind of what I've been into, you know. So thank you for letting me share that little video.
So you are doing more writing that you want to like film.
Yeah, yeah. I found that screenplays or the format of screenplays is
Mhm.
really cool for me. I've always had trouble with like grammar. I've always had trouble with spelling. With feeling like I wasn't a good writer as far as like certain formats. But screenplay, it's almost like you can't write. All your writing is what people are seeing. So there's not like a lot of emphasis on like describing, like you can describe things really well, right? But it's better to kind of describe it more concisely, right? Than like trying to like tell what the characters are thinking or whatnot. So I find that screenplay writing is like super enjoy. It's actually I really think I really want to encourage you to pick it up a little bit because I do feel like it's the most like poetry. Especially I feel like your poetry in particular is super visual, you know. So yeah, I've been really enjoying it, and like you see me in the sling, I've had a little time off, so it's been cool to just like focus on just writing, you know.
So you have been writing before us. Would you mind telling me before us? What's that about?
Oh yeah, so I have like several stories I'm working on right now. Before Us is actually one of the harder ones to describe, like pitch, but basically it's like it's about this girl who lives in like the suburbs in California, and she got like some supernatural. I'm kind of going for like this kind of like sci-fi supernatural kind of thing in this story, and it's a really hard story to like talk about. I really can't wait to actually make it, but it's basically she has this connection with this like cactus and her mom, and it's kind of like me kind of my tribute to like magical realism, which
I
I feel,
love.
dude,
I that is my favorite writing style. I love magical realism.
I like I said, I really mess with like a lot of different genres when I write, and magical realism is like something that like kind of touches all the stories I work with, and I just yeah, it's just my chance to really dive into that, and it's kind of like my life and my wife's life put together.
Mhm.
So it's a really cool story where I get to kind of talk about a lot of the family stories that I don't really got nowhere to put them. So I kind of put a lot of her family stories and
Mhm.
mine in that story. So that one is actually what I'm working on right now. Like I'm literally like in the midst of writing that one, and I got the end written, which is like a big deal for me because endings are like really tough for me. So I'm actually feeling like I can actually finish that story because I got the ending already.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's a really one I'm really excited about writing.
I've not heard anybody like I've never had a conversation when somebody's like magical realism. That is my favorite thing to read. I've struggled with writing it, but I could see how like let's say like Isabella Allende, there's a lot of African
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
Latin and Spanish writers that use magical realism, like Water for Chocolate. I know it
Mm-hmm.
used a lot of magical realism. I can't really think of a lot of authors. Let's see.
No, I mean
Zora Neale
you named
Hurston
a lot
used a
of
lot of
good.
magical realism.
That was you named a lot of my favorite themes and a lot of good examples actually.
Or let's define magical realism. I just looked it up real quick because I don't think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, I think people know what it is, but don't know how
Mm-hmm.
to identify it. So, magical realism is a literary and artistic style that depicts the world as realistic while still
Mm-hmm.
incorporating magical elements, often blurring the lines between reality and speculation. You know what show did a good ass job of that? Damn it, it was Lovecraft County
Oh,
Country. You never seen that?
I didn't see it. I get scared from scary shows, so That shit had me scared like 3 minutes into it. So I was like, I don't know if I could do this show, but it looked really good.
You need to go back to that because I feel
Okay,
like
okay, I gotta give it another
you
chance.
have to give it another chance because if you look
But
at the
even Atlanta,
story,
I was gonna say even Atlanta, like when the dude pulls out in the invisible car, when they were talking about the invisible car. Oh well, damn! I hope I'm spoiler alert on the episode, but they talk about an invisible car in the beginning of the episode, and then at the end there's a shootout and some dude pulls out in an invisible car. I just feel like, and that's obviously like the definition for sure, but like I where I like to talk about magical realism is kind of like you suffer from like trauma, and sometimes talking about the things that have happened is like too much, right? So you kind of create this like alternate reality that almost kind of explains what happened better than what actually really happened, because sometimes what really happened is just like too. Yeah, it's magical realism is like really really comes from places where people have like really been hurt. um I don't know. It's funny. A story that just popped into my head is like, I remember I was in Nicaragua talking to some OGs there, and they talked about there's a certain town. The name of the town is missing me right now, but they talked about how the Virgin Mary showed up there in the middle of like the Civil War when shit was like really bad. The Virgin Mary showed up at a certain river and told everybody it was going to be okay. And like when you talk to people, they don't talk about it like, oh, it's this like miracle or this like magical thing. It's like, nah, it like happened. You know what I mean? Like the way they talk about it is like, it's not magic, like, or like that magic exists or that it really happened. You know what I mean? Like yeah, it's really interesting when you grow up in a culture where like people talk about these things that are like real, that are, I mean, shit, who am I to say that it wasn't real or it didn't happen?
right, and I think in a lot of our cultures that we experience that because I think even when you look at the Bible or you look at our faiths and stuff like that connected to God and stuff like that, I mean that's basically what magical realism is. Like
Oh,
if you was to look at it as far as writing goes. So I think, but then if you think about it, you think about times in your life to where it was some magical shit that happened to you. You know what I'm saying? And you like, wait a minute, that was fucking magic. Like just some unbelievable shit. So shout out to magical realism. I need some more magic in my life right now. Sprinkle me, man. You feel me? Like I need God to come and razzle dazzle. So
we all do, and I think in stories sometimes, a lot of times in my stories, things happen that don't really happen in life. Sometimes the good guy doesn't win, or sometimes the person that works hard doesn't get the reward at the end. So like, I've been having a lot of therapy through writing. Is like, shit, sometimes you got to make up a story where the person comes up, because sometimes people don't really come up, or I don't know. Sometimes that's been my experience, where some of the funniest things I think of in stories is just things that I wish could have happened or could have broke a different way. But yeah, that I really do find a lot of therapy. So I find myself writing a lot of stories about people that are at work, and like things that I find that work sometimes can be really frustrating in a way where you're like, damn, dude, like, am I the only one that's seeing how crazy all this stuff is? So yeah, I've been really enjoying that. That's been really where my writing. When we first met, poetry that's all I wrote. So it's cool to get invited on the show and think about, and finding poems and thinking about poetry again too, though.
mhm. I think we need those type of stories though, like those realistic stories where things don't go right, where because I think that's what kind of make people bitter. Especially with the internet now. It's like you gotta think like we didn't grow up with Facebook. We didn't grow up with Instagram. We didn't have all these outlets. Like we was really hitting the pavement with our writing. We was really performing a lot. Do you get what I'm saying? And I really thought like I was gonna be the most famous motherfucker in the world. Like for real. Like I'm thinking like we could do this. And to look at life, it's like life definitely isn't like that. And I think taking away that fairy tale thing and finding love, peace, harmony, finding the magic in your life that isn't surrounded by like materialism, that isn't surrounded
Mm,
by, all these like physical things all the time. Like sometimes it could be like, damn, I really still got partners that like how we is. Like, damn, we came up like writers core, what I'm saying, throwing open mics, what I'm saying, like at the public library, at schools, and I want to get into like what you're doing now with the youth in San Francisco. Like, where's writing taking you?
Yeah, no, I think about that a lot. Like, you know, you know, a lot of people are saying San Francisco's changing, or you know what I mean, and that's always like a very popular subject of, and it's led me to think about, yeah, like what is the difference between, or what is something that I would like to sustain, right? And I do think that our commitment to arts and our commitment to, people took a lot of time to, edit our work and, help me learn how to perform my work on stage. And, we had teachers and we had coaches. And I just, if there's anything that I would like to pass on is, being able to help other people create that outlet for themselves, right? Because, man, I don't even want to think about my life without that time of writing poetry. I'm super emo dude, and it was really good to have something to like put that place, and I see it with our young people nowadays. I don't I'm really not trying to be on here on this podcast talking about things are worse now than they were back in the days, because I feel like we all heard that story already. But I do think that there is a certain amount of, it's hard not to compare your life to other people as a young person, because you have so much access to what your life can be or could be. Like, like we didn't really, if we was all eating, if we all could afford a little Choco Taco at the store, that we, that was cool. You feel me? Like, but you see so many people got it. Like, I don't know. I feel a lot for these young people, man. And social media is definitely having an effect on our young people and their, depression levels. And I just want to say, like, just have a little empathy for the young people, because it is a little different, I think, from my working with young people. It is a little, it's harder for them to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. It's definitely different,
So they ain't got no Gloria Yamato, huh?
I mean, and it's tough because I feel like, that's on us, right? Like, we got to be the Glorias but from my experience, it's hard when I don't know. I feel like we don't invest as much, or we can invest more. Let me say it like that. We can invest more in the young people. A lot of grants, dude. There was a lot of grants around when I was, my 2000s. We could write for. There probably is now, man. But it just seems like, the commitment, or I would like for there to be more. Is Writers Core around anymore? I don't think they are around anymore, right?
I'm not sure.
was
So
a big
Writers
organization.
Core is it was a San Francisco based nonprofit with the San Francisco Arts Commission that was dedicated to creating literacy through creative writing, which is how Primo and I met. They employed creative writing teachers. Gloria Yamato was one of them. Shout out to Gloria. I met her in Mrs. Langlois class at Ida B. Wells,
Right.
and she was my writing teacher. How did you meet Gloria?
I remember
What?
I was such a cocky little guy, but I remember I seen some poster that was like poetry contest at the SF library, and I was like, I don't even know. I didn't even really like write poetry like that too, but I was like, I'm about to go win that. Whatever it is, I'm about to go win. And so I just went, and I was like, hey, I'm like trying to get up, and Gloria was like holding it at the library, and I was like, yeah, I'm trying to compete. And she was like explaining to me like, yo, this is like, how they would have like groups that would like compete, but they weren't really competing. It was like a poetry contest, but it wasn't like, you know what I mean? I was over there trying to like battle rap somebody, you know what I mean? And she was like, dude, this ain't like that. You feel me? Like, But she was like, you can start coming to the class though. You can start coming, like we meet every Wednesdays if you want to start coming, and then you can start entering the poetry contest, right? And so I was like, all right. And so I started coming on Wednesdays, thinking it was gonna be on some battle rap shit, and it was actually probably the best place for me to be at, because there is like a lot of poetry is like, you can say things that are really like fluffy and nice, and then somebody will come and they'll like read something that's really personal, and you just kind of feel like a jerk. Like you're like, here I took hella long trying to sound cool, and here somebody opened up their soul to me, you know what I mean? And you're like, what took more courage? You know what I mean? Like, what really took more courage, you know? So that was a good experience for me to learn, like, what really poetry really is. It ain't just about rhyming hella cool, you know?
Oh, it is still open. So Writers Court is still open.
Yeah. I did hear
Okay.
it was, I that's why I asked you, because I think it's still around, and
Oh, they got classes.
it's
they
a
got,
great program. It was a great
really-
program. You Speaks is another great program that a lot of young poets come up out of, and was super influential. And Writers Corps was another one of those programs that they do a lot of great work, and you know,
But then I feel like the difference between like the youth then and the youth now, because I have a daughter and I'm looking at her and she's about to be 16, and I'm like how, let's say for example, you saw a flyer. Do you get what I'm saying? And you was
Yup.
like, I'm about to go down there and win this.
yeah,
It's like now I don't feel like the youth are really coming out of their, let's say, social media boxes and actually engaging as much. Like I'll see things like we'll be driving down the street and I'll be like, oh, look it. Da, 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 and I'll take a picture and I'm like, why don't you sign up and go? Because
Mhm.
that's the way we used to.
There's
you
a
know what I'm saying?
hesitancy to like look foolish. I don't know. I wonder if it's because everybody records everybody.
I think that might be it.
Cause man, I mean, like, I'll be honest with you, like some of those for early performances, like I'm kind of glad there ain't no footage of it. Like there, like there's a lot of man, but
Wouldn't you want it to exist, but you
Yeah.
would never probably want to watch it? It was probably like sitting in a shoebox in the top of your closet. You would like that.
yeah, but and the honesty, the truth about it is nobody cares, right? Like you probably think you look hella, whatever, and it would be good to have the footage of it. It would be great to have some of that open mic, the ones we threw at the library. It would be great to have that footage.
So there is places like the San Francisco Writers Studio that offers programs like that. They have the Writers Grotto, the Bay Area Writers League, Daily Flash, the Right Now. So they have multiple writing groups. If you're interested in writing, there's more than one place to get it.
That's
Yes.
dope.
Yes,
But I feel like the community, I feel like,
and You
take-
Speaks is still around, and You Speaks has been around, and
yeah, that's another one of them,
they're one of the
throwback
premier.
writing.
Every time I've been in between jobs, always try to see if I can work there.
Hey, You Speaks, hire my boy Primo.
Well, I mean, I gotta apply first, but yeah.
They just need to hire you.
And that's if you want their info.
Yeah, You Speaks. They're on 265 Shotwell Street, San Francisco, California. Their phone number is 415-255-9035. But yes, any support to You Speaks, or shout outs to these organizations that they got to us young, and that's always been my thing. And that's when you ask me what I want to talk about, is always the young people, because I feel like I mean, I'm not trying to, I think we need stuff for adults too. And don't get me wrong, we need our outlets and we need our places to play. And I'm big on adult sports too. And
But this is grassroots at its finest, right? So this is our children.
I think you make the biggest impact, or the biggest help you can do, is for young people, like those people that took their time to help us, right?
Right. But I for me, like I said, I met Miss Langle. I met Miss Langle. Mrs. With Gloria Yamato. I met her in class. Then I start coming to the library. So I feel like but you gotta think, what teenagers now hang out at the library? We literally was some super cool dorks. You get what I'm saying? We hung out at the library, for real.
What trips me out is how Gloria, because from what I understand, you were in like a class of people, and she picked you kind of to like, as far as I know, I don't know, because she was like, I mean, my class was like really, the Wednesday class.
Hmm.
It was like a lot of younger people. I mean, I was young, so I was like in high school, but it was like a lot of like almost like middle school to like, like freshmen.
Hmm.
So she picked me kind of because I could actually like come on a Saturday, but like I felt like she picked you like out of like a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like that's the impression I got when she spoke to me about you, was like, so that tripped me out, that out of a class of, I don't know, 30 kids, you somehow stood out to her. I actually never really asked you about that.
I honestly, she was one of the she was the poetry teacher, so she would come up there. I forgot how often, and we had writing, poetry exercises. So she was the writer core teacher that would come, and because we would publish
Mm-hmm.
a book
Same thing in
every
Mission High.
semester in Miss Langlois class. So so she was one of the facilitators with the poetry and stuff like that, and one of the teachers. So I guess she had read my writing, and she asked my teacher. She was like, "Who wrote this?"
Damn.
And then she was like, "Her." She's like, "The girl that be sleeping in class." I ain't shit. I ain't shit. I was already in continuation school. And I was taking a
Damn.
nap. And so yeah,
That's the teacher's fault for being boring.
no, Miss Langlois was hella dope.
Oh, damn.
I was
all right.
sleepy.
I was
But
trying to help you out right there.
I know, right? Nah, I've always been.
But see, to me, that's like super impressive, because I was kind of like, I don't know, for my group, I kind of felt like I was like the one that she was like, this fool wants more coaching or instruction. But like when she told me about you, she was like, yeah, this is a person I think is really, you should meet. She was really good. And it's trippy, yeah. So big shout out to Gloria Amato, because I do think from my experience of working with young people for 20 years is like, you try to help as many young people as you can, but every once in a while you do a little bit more for one or for two or for three that you can. And that's basically something I learned from her, right? She did a lot for a lot of young people, right? She was
Right,
a lot of
right.
people's coach, but for
Right.
us, she did a little bit more. And
I think honestly, she
it just
did
means
a
a lot to
lot more.
you know what?
Really,
You're right,
she
dude.
really did a lot. She
She did
sacrificed a
more.
lot, and I think that
There was a lot of time there, huh? A lot of
that
Saturdays.
was a lot of. Imagine her Saturdays, and she up there fucking with us, man, at the library. We coming late and shit. Look,
I
she'll
wasn't
be.
gonna bring up that we was always
We
late,
would be
but
late, but we'll come though. You feel me?
thank God one of us was always on time. Because when I was there every time we was both. Because if we was both late, that's pretty bad. Because at least she could work with one of us while one of us was on our bullshit. You feel me?
Right.
But we wasn't. I learned that we was not supposed to be late. So to this day,
But
Shout out
imagine
to
all the bullshit we could have. But just look at this. I mean, like even with
Mhm.
what you doing right now, or even what I'm doing right
Mhm.
now, I feel like that type of spirit, since it was invested in me, it lives on.
I feel the
And
same way.
like
Like you owe it almost to
I owe it
to another young person,
I
right?
do.
I feel that way, and not in a bad way, because I know sometimes, teaching and working with young people can be its own like martyrism. But nah, like I do feel that way about a lot of the people that like, helped us, not just at Writers Corps but also like, shout out to the Beacon. I worked at the Community Bridges Beacon for heck long, at Everett Middle School, and that was another place that like was super influential for me, and people took a little more time to like help me. I wouldn't be working with young people right now if it wasn't for those two places,
Right. Yeah, no, I honestly feel like when they be like, what did I was gonna ask you, what did poetry do for you? Like, for me, it really, with my confidence, with my self esteem, with my identity as a young person, like we could have been doing any fucking thing. Imagine, like teenagers in San Francisco, but we're at the fucking library on a Saturday.
No, it was huge. It was huge. I remember we did you got to go, where did we go? I went to Santa Fe with them one year, and we got to read poetry for the Indian
See,
school.
I didn't go to. I went.
And then you went the
I
next
didn't.
year.
You went the first year. I didn't go the next year.
We didn't go somewhere else. Didn't we go to DC
We
together?
did I didn't go to DC. What we did, but remember we did have the cultural exchange.
So that was
I
really
think
cool.
I actually ran into some like some stuff online. Like they're still doing a lot of stuff in like Santa Fe with the writers and like I
That was
watched
a
like
really
some type of
magical experience
documentary.
just going to
Yeah.
that school and for years and for a long time those schools were places that but now it's like a place where they go to like learn about their culture
Mhm.
and so it was dope reading there, man. That was a cool experience, you know. Another town very much like San Francisco that takes like poetry and arts like super seriously. They like it out there, you know.
So you did mention about like how it's changed and fuck how people feel. No, just honestly, fuck how people feel. But what do you feel like the city needs? Because we're natives, you get what I'm saying? But you
Right.
still interacting and you like you're still with the youth. Like, what do you what have you
Right.
observed, and what would you like to see happen or change? Or
Yeah, like I come, man. It's I know with everything that's happened lately with these new elections and with the city moving in a different direction. I already kind of had concerns, you know. But I think the one thing I will say is like public schools and our kids and our teachers and stuff like that. It just really needs a relook of like what education is. I think when we were young and we graduated high school, you worked at Old Navy, you went down whatever
old
Market Street.
slavery. It was old slavery. It wasn't no damn old Navy.
Everybody I knew worked at Old Navy at one
Mhm.
point, or the Gap or whatever, and
Mhm.
retail stores ain't around no more. What is like if you're graduating high school right now, what is supposed to be that first job? You know, like I couldn't even tell you. So I just really think we need to really not to be on some like negative ass shit, but I just really feel like our schools there needs to be a more of investment on the future. Teachers need to make a lot more money. Schools, and it's not getting any better. We about to close a bunch of schools. A lot what ends up happening is a lot of these charter schools get to kind of handpick kids, and so now public schools are even at a tougher spot now because they get all the kids basically the charter schools don't want to help or don't want to take in. So I just really feel like public school is a really big thing that like America hangs their hat on, right? We really hang our hat on this idea that anybody can come up through education or that education is the answer, but like we live in a really rich city, you know, and I just don't really see any type of resources being put into these public schools as much as they could be or whatnot. And we can get into specifics or whatnot, but I don't want to be a super bummer on the show either. But I just think it does deserve a level of concern with where it's at now and where it's going, because it's we're about to close 13 schools down.
Oh my god.
The teachers were getting their their checks short. If teachers weren't checking their checks, they had to like call the offices and make sure that their checks was all legit. People were janitors were not getting paid. Custodians were not getting paid. When we were young people, our school system was doing some real shady shit. So it's like a lot of things that I'm willing to look past on if we could just really be invested in our young people, and I think that's something that we can all agree on and all get behind and affects us all, because I know a lot of people that are well off and still put their kids in public school system because they want their kids to grow up with real people, and I don't even know if that's a possibility now, and I also do know a lot of people that work at schools and don't even let their kids are in the schools that they work at. So it's a problem that I just feel like, and if I were to point one thing and say, hey, we need to all attack this, is testing, man. Testing is opt out of testing. Any parents out there, you can opt out of testing. They're gonna tell you not to do it. They're gonna tell you it's good for your kid, and it's not. So don't want to hijack the show by any chance, but that's
Dude,
one
I
thing I will
invited
say.
you on the show. Everybody see my big old head every
My-
weekend.
my
I don't
bad,
need
you
to be
know.
sitting up here talking. You here to talk. I didn't put you on the flyer for me to talk shit.
All right.
So you have some comments from YouTube and others.
Oh, nice.
It says both of you guys are amazing.
Oh, thank
From
you.
Gloria Yamato.
Woo! Hey, Gloria.
Shout out to
I
Gloria
love
Amato.
Gloria.
There you go.
Maybe the 17th time we've apologized for being late on those Saturdays. Or
I'm so sorry
we
for being
never-
late,
it's never
Gloria. I used to
enough.
be so
Never
guilty. I
enough.
used to be like, man.
Hey, Gloria.
But
We're gonna hit you up soon, Gloria, to hang out with you. Me and Martrice was
definitely,
talking
we're
about
gonna
it.
pull
I
up
haven't- I
on
haven't
ya.
Put her name in lights there, so she'll be up.
There you go.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, and I think that's like for me, like when we're talking about education and stuff like that, and I'm thinking like, okay, boom, because I have a kid. And one thing that I did when she was really little is I would bring her to poetry readings. You know what I'm saying?
I
And remember
remember that.
Leia, remember I'll bring
Mhm.
my niece. I would bring my niece. So therefore I am
Your daughter would be
happy.
going around signing everybody up on the newsletter. Like that was a really cool way to
Right.
get
So
everybody to sign up.
therefore I feel like everybody could play their part. And I think sometimes we don't acknowledge the like really significant roles that we might play just because it's not in a, let's say for example, like it's not a nonprofit organization. Do you get what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
I think we need to start having like just not nonprofit organizations, but I think that we need to have like, let's say if I was to start a company or whatever, I would want to make sure that everybody is getting paid for their participation. Do you get what I'm saying? I think one thing about nonprofit organizations that I didn't like is that, yeah, the only person they profited is the only motherfuckers they profited is the poor people you said you coming to help. Do you get what I'm saying? You profiting your ass like you a fucking executive director. You profiting. How much money you making?
Yeah.
And then gentrification comes in. And you get all these people from just from butt fuck everywhere with PhDs and masters and oh yeah, we're gonna help everybody. The first person you helped was your motherfucking self. Do you get what I'm saying? So
No, it's tough.
I think the
It's tough,
restructuring of, like you said, like I think the restructuring of the way we think about help is like we need to ask the people, man, fuck that. We need to just hijack shit. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't think that a lot of these institutions that are in place we need to fashion ourselves after. I think that we need to evolve beyond that. Like I remember like trying to navigate like nonprofit and just was like this shit ain't making sense, man. Make it make sense. Like shit ain't making sense. Like how could you survive? Like how are you going to hire people to not survive? Do you get what I'm saying? What kind of job is that? And I feel like a lot of, like you said, like teachers need living wages, and they need to be able to be comfortable. Who the fuck want to be a teacher? I remember the first time when I was like, I remember my dad when I was in high school and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a fucking teacher, right? And when I told my dad that, I was like, I want to be a teacher. He was like, you're gonna be poor for the rest of your life. I was so mad. But you know what?
Hey, but
Honestly, like you said, it's like you damn near a martyr. And I feel like that with the arts. I feel like that with anything that really seems very meaningful.
Wow.
Like a motherfucker driving a bus to get more respect for you just because they social economic status, which let's keep it 100. You could drive a fucking bus. You ain't buying no fucking house in San Francisco. You still poor. Let's say you making $150,000 a year, but you got 3 kids. Come on, man. So therefore poverty is come on, man. Niggas out here working poor. Don't matter.
It's a different speed
This
nowadays.
is a whole. I mean, but you think about it. Back in our day, the houses and the housing market and living, like people wasn't living big. Like they really wasn't. You really think about it. Everybody was like, "Oh yeah, I live in butt fuck Oakland," or you know what I'm saying. It's not like people that was working in the city as our teachers and stuff was like, "Oh yeah, I live on." Like I live in the neighborhood that I'm working in, and I'm walking to work unless you was paying the arm and the titty.
That's how I remember. I remember when I was like a kid. You would go to elementary school, and the 3rd grade teacher would be there, and then you go to middle school. You come back, that same 3rd grade teacher, she was right there in her same room, that was her job. That was, that was, she could make a living off of just being a teacher, just being a third grade teacher, but it's hard to ask our teachers now to endure 10 years, 30, 20 years doing that, man. It's that was the same thing with me. I was interested in being in the schools, and I worked directly with a lot of schools, and I kind of just seen like maybe after school could be that place where we are replacing kind of the things we don't do at school no more, which is like art, playing, sports, and even in after school is difficult sometimes because you know we feel like we got to make up for, they're always behind, we got to make up for something.
Oh my God. I want to thank our live listeners. And you know what's funny? One of my boys,
Thank you for listening.
his name Age, you know what I'm saying? He just like posted, for one, he does what the fuck? Hip hop comic books, dude.
Oh,
It's
that's
right there.
super
There was
cool.
two of them.
That's
But he's
super cool.
actually with, he works with the Vallejo Library. And he just invited me to co-facilitate, like a workshop at the library. So it is being done. Like Poor Magazine, I just think it's about tapping into
Oh, for
those
sure.
communities. That's like the
For
San
sure.
Francisco Public Library is still popping. Like they have a studio there now. They have all this stuff. The teen center is dope. It's like the Matrix up in that motherfucker. But I think it's just about access. It's like who is able to access. It's like,
And that's what's great about your show is you can bring some of those people on because you will never see, like for example, Gloria Yamato, like we're going to give her flowers now. And there's a lot of people that do a lot of good work. They're not waiting for nobody to thank them or nothing,
Right.
they just do it off the strength. I love those people, but somebody got to give them their flowers. We got to, that's great to have a show where we could talk about these people doing these great things,
I think, man, and I think flowers ain't enough. Like, yeah, we need to speak on
yeah,
it, but I
right.
also think that there needs to be like, and I think there is. I just think we haven't found it yet. Because having these discussions, maybe something will come to us. Um, Fuck the flowers. Like, there needs to be something to where we could reward these people and to empower the next generation to keep going. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, and do
I
so
do.
and restructure some things. Like, I mean, no, of course, give the person their verbal flowers and be like, okay,
No, but I hear
we
what you're saying,
appreciate
though.
it, but it needs to be something concrete because where are these people now? These are the, our teachers that sacrificed, that invested in us, that did so much for us. Now as adults we're like, oh my God, we need, like we need to be these people now. We need to no, but it's cool though because I'm actually, like I just said, I'm hooking up with my boy Age and I'm going to a library and I'm about to play Gloria Yamato. You feel me? I'm about to do it. So I'm ready for it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, let's
Glow,
do
dude.
it. And I actually hooked up with the San Francisco Public Library, I'll say like a few weeks ago, and
They
I
still
met
do
the
good work.
African American librarian there at the main library. So therefore I just sent her an email before coming here. So I feel like us keeping these connections and keeping these conversations alive and really doing something. We're about to have an art show here. When is it?
It's on Friday, November 15th. This Friday.
Come
Right.
check
So
out
it's
the
gonna,
art show.
right. So slide through. It's like, okay, that should be the, like, this is the place for it. Like, this is Ghetto Poet podcast. This ain't no jumper or no dumb niggas talking about stupid shit and who
I
what
hope not.
bitches getting fucked. And it's about artists and people coming together. No, for real, because I'm sick of that shit. Or relationships. I give a fuck about relationships. This is some Ghetto Poet shit to where I want artists to come through. I want people to relive their dreams. I want people to give people their flowers, but also like make steps towards the future just by me inviting Age on here. Boom. Guess
Yeah.
who about to be back at that library? Voila, guess what? So, and I will be promoting that shit straight up. So therefore, I'm giving back.
Yeah, no. And
So
one
therefore,
person's
I
gonna be at that little event. They gonna see the comic book. They gonna get inspired to do their own thing. It yeah. I don't know how many times. Shit, I remember the first time I seen somebody freestyle. Like it's like etched into my brain, and me thinking like, damn, I want to do something like that, But it's crazy. Like I remember, vivid memory, So yes, inspire. You know what I'm saying? Like inspire people.
Yeah. What do you okay, boom, because you were hell of a we were I think the unique thing about Writers Core was that we did open mics and we
Right.
didn't like you said, like, okay, you speaks. Like to me, they was always kind of bougie to me. Like we was more ghetto. We was more ghetto at Writers Score to me. And
You
so
Speaks was just hella more popular, I would say. It was very competitive. It
that's
was
what I'm
very
saying.
competitive.
But I felt like it was clicky, you know what I'm saying? Like the just the culture by it being competitive, made it for me, like I always was standoffish about them. So what do you think from your experience, especially like as an open mic? I feel like we were specifically
Yeah.
bred for
Yeah.
open mics. That's a whole different
Type of
culture.
poetry.
So
Yep.
what is an open mic to you?
I
Like,
do appreciate you saying that actually because I do think it is a different type of poetry. You know, it was and you know, I think like I had to learn that too. That like when you're not there to perform a poem, it has to be like written a little differently, right? But I've always written my poetry to like perform it, and that is kind of because of where we came up from. And I think, you know, I know that movie Slam was like super popular when I was like in high school, I think, and like that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want somebody to like pick up my book and read my poet, which is fine. I mean, nowadays that'd be great if that happens too. But yeah, like that was the idea, was to get good and be able like to perform your poem and like memorize your poem and like almost act it out in a way, you know. But and like once again, like I remember seeing people do it before I ever thought about wanting to do it, you know? And that's what's so cool. It was just so cool, man. I remember it. We was at my elementary school. I was hanging out with my older brothers and just somebody just started rapping. Like just started like freestyling. I just dude, I thought that shit was like that fool was making a form of alchemy. You feel me? Like I was like he was threading, he was, you know, doing something amazing in my opinion. So I just think I'm a product of my environment as far as when it comes to like the certain type of open mic poetry that we do. And it was all about trying to be memorable. But I also feel like it did hurt a lot of the poets that I thought were really great at their penmanship and not super great performers. I do feel like it did kind of hurt them a little bit though, because if you would listen to what they were writing, it was like super dope. But like, I'm gonna be real with you, like being a good open mic
performer.
you got to perform your fucking poem. Like it's
Mhm.
not just about reading a dope ass poem.
See, but I feel like that's where the difference is because I wasn't a.
It's a different animal for sure.
Yeah, it's a different animal,
You were
but
really good at. You're really good at it too.
I didn't feel that way. Um, what I feel like is that I was raw. I'm just gonna go head on and I'm gonna say this shit and this is what I feel and fuck it. So I wasn't looking to appease nobody. I just was happy to have a space where I could be my authentic self.
Mm,
And so for me it was a whole different thing. But you always had a style and a flair about you. And
appreciate that.
and you was one of you was one of my first favorite poets. I still have your book. I was looking for it. I literally had it on my damn bookshelf, like right there. But I was rushing when was on my way. I was like, I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna send you a picture of it though. But even thinking about all the other elements, like us being in like the newspapers,
Mhm.
us being on radio shows, us having these mics in front of us, you know what I'm saying? It's like we was on dope stages and also
Mhm.
like us being a part of the Write Like a Giant, like
Mhm.
commemorating the 1909 earthquake.
Mhm.
Oh, fun fact.
Lickquake.
Okay,
Lickquake
boom,
just
boom,
happened not
boom.
too long ago too.
What is that?
It still happened. I think that was what we did. We were part of that,
And it was a really big campaign.
and that one was a big one because it was the anniversary.
It
of
was
the
I think
earthquake.
was it the
Damn, I
100th
forgot about that.
anniversary?
Thank you for
How you gonna forget about
I
that?
no, I remember doing the theme, but I forgot that it was the 100-year anniversary.
Yeah,
of
it was
that.
like the 100-year anniversary. And remember, we was
No,
on
that was one of the most memorable
billboards
things I've done in my life. That
throughout
was
the
cool to read
city.
poetry.
What the hell you mean? We had a whole, met Randy Wynn and we read a fucking poem in the middle of the Giant Stadium. We had a photo shoot,
Shout out
video.
to Randy Wynn and Omar Vizquel. That was who we got to meet.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Famous
and
shortstop.
we had like a
That was a
good
great
ass
experience,
run. That was a
yeah.
dope ass experience through Writers Course. So we was like the mascots, like the for that book, and it took like a lot of youth and poetry and put it in a whole book. Like
Mhm.
Gavin Newsom was behind it. It was a really fucking big deal. We read in the middle of the Giant Stadium, and that was such a dope experience. Like I mean, it was unbelievable. Like as a poet, like I want to be able to put youth in those type of
Yeah.
positions. Do you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
It makes you realize, like, man, I should kind of like, I'm good at this and I should take it seriously, you know? That was kind of what it did for me, was like, this is something that if you want to put time into, it'll give back to you, you know? Because we did put our time into, man. Like, we wrote a lot, you know? Like, we were in there producing work, you know? It's when I look back at it, like, you asked me to come on the show, and I was like, I'm used to having, like, hella poetry, you know what I mean? Like, 15 poems to pick from, you know what I mean? And, like, it's more like 5 now, you know what I mean? Like, so it's
you
a trip
gonna
to think
share
about
one with
how
us,
much-
right?
Yeah, I definitely got some good stuff.
Let me give you some inspiration first. You got some flowers coming your guys' way.
Oh, man, right on.
Check this out. Gloria's back and says, "You
Thank you,
are my
Gloria.
reward. The strength of your voices give me life."
Oh,
And
man.
then shout out to Bella. We're giving Bella all the love. Appreciate watching the live from Color Me Oakland.
Woo! What's up with the
Bella
town?
Martrice, the shit.
You know what? And we so Frisco. You see this hat right here? You know what I'm saying? One of my best buddies gave it to me, and was hella funny that Primo came. Put the camera on his damn, because my shit
Shout
is
out
like
to
the San
Uri.
Francisco Muni shit, and he got his Uri.
Uri.
We did not
That's
coordinate
the
that.
homie in the neighborhood be selling shirts.
We did not coordinate that. But you know, shout out to everybody that's like our viewers and stuff. And let's like really tap in and let's try to grow this community. And why don't you read a poem, Tony? Because you was hella
Right.
dope, Primo. You feel
I
me?
appreciate it. And that's what I was going to say, actually, when I'm glad you reminded me, is like, you know, getting back into that community and finding a community of writers. If you do write poetry, if you do write stories, finding that community, because, like, yes, we wrote poems for these zines and these chat books, but really, like, you know, if I knew you was gonna be there, if I knew Robin Black was gonna be there, shout out to Robin Black, or
Shout out to
Antoinette,
Robin.
who used
Right.
to come hard with it too.
Mhm.
Used to know they was gonna be there and they was gonna read their poem, and you better come with your poem
Right.
that's
right,
gonna
right,
be
right.
good, because there's gonna be some people there that are gonna have some really good poetry. So I just really, I think that's like a super big catalyst of like what pushed me and like what pushed, you know. But yeah, I'm down to read
Oh hell yeah!
some poetry if it's cool. All right, this is called Weed and Caffeine.
Eating caffeine.
No, it's Weed and Caffeine.
Oh, weed and caffeine.
I seen someone jump into the BART tracks. It was okay to jump right back out. Always on BART, but never leave the city. I've been many things, never long enough to notice. Seen alcoholics tell the truth, seen angels lie, both with homeless. He tells me, it's not enough to know God. You need to prove it. Salvation in the form of a group text. Last night, a meme saved my life. I'll see you when we spark again. In the past, in Africa, on a different planet. Hopefully, we're still chuckling. I hope I'm a better friend then. Seeing you the other day, leaping over obstacles hella nonchalantly. I love you and I forgot to tell you. Now I feel like I owe you this apology. Comparisons are the thief of joy, so I reap on the gratitude. Too weak for some conversations. How do I float us, drowning in cannibals? It's a cold game, we're surrounding and they're yelling, come out with your hands up. Crown on my head and my neck grows heavy. Captain of my own destiny, but who else gonna show 'em with these poems? I'm Shogun until the next one is ready. Do I keep going?
Keep going if you want to keep going.
Right on. And just right on, once again, it's like really feels good to like read some poetry, you know what I'm saying? It's been
So that poem is done.
yeah, that poem.
And that's
Oh,
why,
okay.
you know what? That's why you one of my favorite poets, and you always have been. I feel like even though you do have the like when it comes down to it, you always had the bravado and all that kind of stuff. You always had that. You know, it's funny now they call them backpack rappers or
Mhm.
back then, but it's like you gotta think.
Oh
You,
no, that's what we grew up on is backpack rap.
right, but then for me, I didn't know it was gonna become this like thing. So to actually grow up and know real backpack rappers, and then be around, and then now it's like when I see that, I'm like, they faking. They faking. Look, they try to imitate something that they not. Like it's kind of weird, but you've always had like that showmanship. You've always been a great
Oh man, I
performer.
appreciate it, Martrice.
But on top of it, you always had the depth in there. Like you said, like some people just have pretty words. It's like, nah. When you listen to that, like you always be like, I want to hear it again. You know, like
Hmm.
your poems is always hella dope. So yeah, share away.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think like I think it was Chrissy Anderson. Man, I was one of the teachers too that man, her poetry used to be so like
I
revealing.
remember that name.
Remember Chrissy? I forgot her last name, but her poetry was always so revealing, and it really pushed me to be like more revealing. All right, this next poem is called "I Can't Stop Looking at My Phone." I see so many things, a feed I ingest, willing or un. I guess it's my phone and my bad habit. I see two kids dressed like superheroes. They water a plant, the world around them rubble. I see myself in a black mirror, the blue glow replacing boredom with anxiety, with envy or worse, with pleasure. I
Hmm.
see my friend wants to talk. I'm trying to focus on the game, the one they play every other night. I see myself running away while sitting still. I guess it takes a village to distract me. Managers ask if average is really satisfactory.
Hmm.
Ask the landlord for a refund in a month. Explain I mostly live in the past. Saturday cartoons and after school lunch. Today the kids never stop wearing masks. Don't blame them. They record everything. Don't even own their own face.
Hmm.
Careful what you say. Every day is a show, and it won't stop as someone is there to watch. But yeah.
That that's huh. But like you said earlier about it always being a fucking camera in your face. I've had to check myself. Like really like learning to be present and in the moment and not record and not be on my phone. And one rule that I have at my dinner table is no phones,
Mm.
which I ain't gonna lie, lately I've been breaking that motherfucker. But I'm a really um put that back. But I that poem hella dope because like you said, like it damn. That's like a really big problem right now. Like us being and as you started reading your poem, my dumb ass had my phone in my hand.
I can't start looking at my phone.
Look at Paul, you got your phone.
Well, the funny because this first poem was about caffeine and weed, and I'm sitting here smoking and drinking caffeine. And then I'm sitting here, I'm managing your comments on YouTube, and all of a sudden, and this one's about looking at your phone. I'm like, why are you just dictating what I'm doing in here?
I didn't. None of those. I was writing those poems all live right now.
There.
What made you but what is your connection to that poem? Like what made you write it?
This one. Okay.
Let's
what
start
was
from
I
the
just
first
reading?
one because I feel like we just jumped into another
Yeah,
poem.
my bad, and I'll just be So we didn't like a lot of I noticed a lot of the places I really like to write ever since back when we first were writing is when I'm in between places like on BART, on the bus. So I don't know why it's always been like that for me. Is like that's always been a great place for me to write. So Weed and Caffeine was me on the BART, and somebody really did jump into the tracks, and I was like, oh shit. And then they just jump right back out. And I was like, that is some fucking San Francisco ass shit if I've ever seen it. Like, did that person drop something? Did they fucking, who knows,
I saw a nickel on the track.
Dude, it was like, anyways, but yeah, basically it's really just about like, a lot of what I'm writing about a lot right now lately, or is just, I think a lot of us, what we do every day to get by, we do to survive, right? But like, if you didn't have to do what you had to do every day to survive, what would you do, and how would you spend your time? I think about that a lot, and just I really feel like being present when people are, especially as dudes, and the way that dudes present their mental health problems are not so obvious, or so
Transparent.
transparent, or they're not always super there looking for help. So just that's, and obviously not just dudes deal with mental health, but as a dude that has dude friends, just trying to be more aware of shit. Sometimes you're just so busy, like
It
watching
all
the
comes
game.
out differently or does not come out at all.
Yeah, and being open for that, and being open for those conversations. But sometimes you are so tired yourself that you can't really have those conversations or even be open to those signs. So, um, yeah, man, just trying to be a better friend as we get older. What a better friend becomes changes. And like sometimes telling the homies what they're doing that they don't want to hear. Shit that they don't want to hear is like what really a good friend does, right? But fuck, that shit is. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been learned how to do it or been good at it because shit, I don't want nobody telling me what to do. You know what I'm saying? Keep it real, So it's a difficult thing, and just being there for people and listening is all I can really like. That's like what I'm trying to like say in these poems. It's just like trying to be there for people.
Poetry is such, for me, as being somebody who has been listening to your poetry for what it's been like, damn nigga, over 20 years.
That shit's crazy when you think
I know
about
it really is crazy, and you still got it.
Oh man,
I'm hella happy
fucking
that you're sharing
appreciate
your
you.
poetry here, and then keep going because I really feel like I'm at this a space for it, and hopefully
Well,
this brings about more opportunities for us to do more things like this.
I just want to say thank you to you because, like I said, I've been writing a lot of stories, thinking about stories and story structure, and it writing these poems for this little thing,
Mm.
writing poems for this podcast was like, man, it was like a dessert. It was like it felt really good, Um, it was like I was cheating on my stories.
Yeah, it was a
almost.
guilty
Yeah,
pleasure.
yeah.
You're eating chocolate and you shouldn't be.
Yeah. So it was I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you so much for asking me to be on here, and like as a person that's seen your show, I'm like just super honored to be here, like
And also, can I add one more thing since you were mentioning to it? A lot of people are dealing with depression and anxiety, and like Primo said, man, it happens in so many different forms. It's okay to pick up a phone. It's great. You can pick up a phone, you can text, you can chat, you can do it all. Check it out. It's the National Suicide and Hotline and Crisis Line. Just pick up your phone and call 988. Or if you know somebody that needs it, get it to them. Again, it's 988. So,
Thank you, Paul. And I think too another thing about our culture, like American culture now, especially with the internet, is like you have all this fictitious shit. Like I have wrote a poem, I'm not done yet, but you know how my poems are, they're like just raw. And I have a poem like I'm not healed yet. I think people think of this like end product. They're like, here's this pristine person. Look, I have a flat stomach now. I make $200,000 a year. I got married. My kids are grown and they're in private schools, and I made it. It's like no, 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 no.
Yeah.
Healing is not that. It could be financial healing
Yeah.
you need, but there's a lot of healing that is constant. I don't think that you ever have the need to stop healing or that there's ever this end goal of healing, but it's more or less like a evolutionary process. And I wrote something called I'm Not Healed Yet, even though I'm
Damn.
not done. And I'll read some to you. It's not done yet.
I was hoping we get a little.
All right. Shut up, bitch. That part of me ain't healed yet. In death, I stand proudly politically incorrect, and I ain't ashamed of being abysmal. And my dark side, I do not reject, just respect it. I'm square. I'm square when I'm square, and I'm a little bit of an octagon when I'm ready for a stop sign. And I'm scared of when I don't drink, fuck, or verbalize my fury. Cause last time I cried that snot on my sweater, drunker than your uncle before that motherfucking police got him sober. It's like you intentionally gave me the incorrect password to the Wi-Fi. That's why we can't connect. And bitch, like I said, I ain't healed yet.
Sorry, I love it so much. I love it so much.
But what I'm saying, I'm sick of people.
Oh, I
It's
love
like
it so
we need
much.
some more honesty. if I'm not
That was the
fucking in
most fucking
cussing,
honest poem I've ever.
Well, in the beginning, I thought she was being honest with you. You're like, oh, good. I'm glad we wanted to listen to this. And she drops right in with, shut up, bitch.
Yeah,
I
it
was
was
like, oh, is that the hymn? Is that the poem?
that's the
I know.
That's to
but
everybody.
I had to wait for you to drop the second
we
line.
need more honest poems. I
Hey,
just
that
seen
shit was
this,
hot. That shit was
Coming
dope.
in hot, man.
That shit was hella dope.
dude. It was this woman I just seen recently. You got to check my
fucking
what's
loved it.
my stories. She was talking about how she likes fucking men and she's
Hey.
manipulative to them and makes it like, oh yeah, you know, I'm this dandelion. And she was like, nah, man, I like fucking them and manipulating them to making them pursue me in this way. And you know, I'm the goddamn villain. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
we
have heard
need
that
to-
narrative before from women where it's like you want to kind of get before you get got. You feel me? Like that makes sense.
I mean, women equally like busting nuts. But what I'm saying, I appreciate the honesty, and I feel like the more humane that we become is when we're honest with each other. You get what I'm saying? Like,
I really agree. I do feel like healing is a journey, not like a destination. Like you can just like, you don't just get it all figured out. You're there. Like it's a fucking journey. And honestly, you know, as a person that knows you, like there's been a lot of things that fuck, dude, you know, it's hard when a lot of things have happened to you. It's hard to be fucking hella positive and super and heal and everything, you know. It was funny. One time I jumped in this. I went back to college like a little later in life, right?
Mhm.
So I'm like older in college, and I jump into this one girl's car, and she's listening to hella like Bumble. But I didn't even know that this.
wait,
thing,
you said you jumped into what?
in this girl's car.
Okay.
She was a friend, and she was listening to Bubblegum Pop. Have you ever even heard of Bubblegum Pop?
No.
That's exact. I never even knew that it existed, but I was like, I was hella envious, like that this person even listened to Bubblegum. I was like, you gotta like be really content in life that you're like music. It's like imagine pop, but even like more bubbly. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just interesting, man. And not to judge her, I'm sure she had her own problems or whatnot, but it's just a trip, man. You know, like some people are going through a lot, man. It's a lot harder to let go of things, you know.
Those are
And
the ones that scare me more.
Honestly,
Because you think they're okay, right? It's
Paul
like
with the
going-
perspective, though.
Mhm.
You feel me? You never know.
By the way, Real Blunt says I love it when you were doing yours.
ah,
Yeah.
what's up with my
And
nigga?
over here we got
That's
snaps
50.
for yours.
Oh,
So
right
there we
on.
go.
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Shout out to 50 Capone. He's a podcaster too. Him and his wife, they have a podcast, and I'm gonna drag them here.
Ooh.
Yeah,
We
Yeah,
actually just put a
50.
big old sack on them, throw them in the back
Yeah.
of the van, and they're
that's how I got here.
Yeah, I had to Murph Primo. I was like, yeah, put on that Frisco
She was
shirt.
tired of me trying to schedule me. She just fucking kidnapped me.
Oh, you heard-
Right. I was in a UPS van too. Y'all
Yeah.
coming through, man. I'm
Lucky
snatching
enough to
up
be on
people.
this show.
This is
Right.
what Brown will do for you. Sorry.
So we got more. Wait, I didn't get that. Yo,
That's
That's what they say for
That's
UPS.
UPS.
See, I was doing a little
Oh.
double thing there with what Brown can do for you.
I'm so slow. That's why I couldn't be a comedian.
You got the double entendre
Yeah,
joke right
I
there.
didn't get it. My dumb ass. I be
Mm.
slow as fuck.
I'm
That shit would go
translucent.
over my head and come back around. I'm like, hey, boy, what you mean? Write it down for me. I'll be to text you like, hey, man.
I'll be laughing like a day later.
Go
Like,
back to 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 29 seconds. Farm that podcast.
So what else we got on the plate, Primo? I mean, you could. I mean, if you want to keep talking, if you want to go into some
I
more
don't really
poems.
got the other poem. I don't really got, but there's a couple other stories that I'm writing. I really wanted to tell you about this one story I'm writing. It's about this. So it's funny. So I'm talking to my wife. It was actually a really serious conversation that I don't know. So I'll be talking to somebody. They'll be talking to me something completely different, and I'll just see like a whole movie in my head, like a whole idea for a movie, you know. And then I'm coming back to the conversation having no idea what just. But so she's talking to me, and it was a really sad conversation. One of her uncles had passed away, right? And so she's like, you know, what's really sad is this dog that he had. Now it lives with another uncle, you know, and then that uncle ended up passing away.
Damn.
And so I was like, damn, dude, like, what if this dog, so I thought of this story, like, what if there's this dog that every time you get the dog, you die in 3 months? And like, if you're like the fourth person with this dog, like, would you change your life? Like, how would you live your life if you knew you only had like 4 months to live? You feel me? So
If you asked me to watch that fucking dog, I would be scared. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm like, what happened with the
Oh,
dog?
but then I also thought so. So I started writing this story right about this dog, basically that like it's on its fourth owner now, and so far it's like it hasn't outright killed its owners, but every person that's owned them before has died. You know?
Okay.
So now it comes to this person. You know, it's kind of the character is loosely based on myself, but like the dog is hella cute though. It's like a really cute dog though. So you're gonna bring in the dog, right? You ain't gonna leave the dog outside, right? But then again, like this dog does have this like so the whole idea of the whole story is like, is the dog really cursed or is it just like a funny coincidence, But yeah, so that came out of a conversation with my wife. So that's a story that I'm working on right now. I really am really needing to finish that story and put an ending onto it.
Mm-hmm.
I got this other story that I'm working on too. It's about this dude who is obsessed with sneakers.
That sounds like you too.
Hey, right, what you know, right? So he's obsessed with sneakers. He's looking for a certain pair of shoes. He can't find them, and then he sees a homeless dude with these pair of shoes on.
Mm-hmm.
So he there's like a funny antics about how he tries to get these shoes from this homeless dude. But as soon as he gets the shoes from the homeless dude, like messes up his life, kind of almost like makes him homeless too.
Oh, wow.
So the story ends with somebody stealing the shoes from him, right? So it's like this like circular story. And then I already talked to you about Before Us. Like that's a little story that I'm working on right now. Currently, it's a little magical realism. So yeah, man, I got a lot of ideas for stories. I'm hella down to like if anybody's listening to share stories and write with people. And
I'm down. I'm fucking down.
I personally feel like if not write a good story, Martrice, I really feel like you'd be a really good actor if somebody wrote the right part for you.
I am down with fucking acting, dude.
There's a certain honesty you just have already that I think is you try to get out of people when they're acting and they get all like unauthentic just naturally, right? Because you feel like you have to be, but I don't think you would have trouble with that.
I wouldn't. If I did, I'd be like, bring a little Hennessy or something, loosen us up in
That
this
should be helping.
motherfucker.
That
for
should be
real.
helping. I get hella self-conscious when I act. It's weird. Like when I read poetry, I don't really get, but when I act, I get a little self-conscious.
You know what's funny is that I feel like when we're talking, what I like about your poetry and just interacting with you, especially being somebody who has been in writing groups, so many writing groups, and with you, that I feel like I'm always so fucking dark. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm like, darkness queen. Look at this. And for you, you always have a light, fun spirit about it.
Damn, right on.
To where you could take something that's fucked up and it won't be as harsh. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you have a knack for that. So like this fucking dog you're talking about, is that
It's such a dark story. It's supposed to be it's a comedy, okay? But yeah, fucking 3 people die in the beginning of the fucking story. So yeah,
no, I wouldn't give a fuck about it being cute. You get what I'm saying? Like, think about that.
I like that too, though. I like that too, though.
But what I'm saying is that I feel like people are so into superficial shit. They will be like, "Oh, it's so cute." I'll be like, "Fuck that dog."
No,
you get what I'm saying?
No, it's a trip. I feel what you're saying because like another person I wanted to give a shout out to is Connor Casey. That's who I like work with on my videos, and he helps me. He's read all my scripts and he helps me a lot with my scripts. I try to help him with his scripts, and we always talk about like resolving things, or having a happy ending or resolving things. Does this story need a resolution? Does this story need a happy ending? And it's like, I feel more times like it doesn't, but I think it says a lot about you more than it says about the story, kind of like, right? Like, do you need a resolution? And like, but yeah, it was a deep conversation we had about it.
I think maybe a moral.
I'm a writer, and I kind of feel you that I've been working on this. I've been working on the story. I haven't figured it out yet. There's still the end. I'm trying to figure out. It's about me going to a massage parlor. I think it needs to end with a happy ending. But what did I say? I'm sorry.
So good. You got that double entendre for sure. You had to get that one.
I totally got it.
When he started, I did not know we were going to end there.
Thank
That was
from the audience say, I like that it could be a blessing to give people 3 months thinking about how they love life. Right?
I'm telling you, dude.
And what will each person do to show this how much they love them and for the blessing and how much they love life by living it. Also, I would love to. This is another person. I would love to share some writing with the two of you.
Oh yeah,
Look
hell
at this,
yeah.
You're inspiring.
That's why I'm
People.
here, honestly. Like, I'm trying to like read people's stuff. I'm trying to have people read my stuff, what they get out of it, or
Okay, and then
And last but
two-
not least, I love magical realism. Keep doing these stories.
yeah, definitely.
There you go.
Oh, you know what? I have been so I'm not okay. Boom, I can't just say everything. Boom. I've been working on my first novel, even though I've been working on 10 novels for the last 20 years. But I'll send you some stuff because it's actually
I'm telling you, man, that's when it starts getting. I get stuck a lot, and then I send it to Connor. This fool.
wait. Ain't y'all working on a
Yeah,
wait,
we
you guys
just
have
we
published.
just last spring we made a short film.
Okay, where that damn short film at?
Well, follow me on Instagram, and then that's a way to get a hold of a lot of my stuff. But that one's on his YouTube. So
Let me see. Is it there's his
Yes, your
Instagram?
Instagram.
Ah, there you go.
there you go.
Primo's
Oh,
Instagram.
there,
Yep,
there
it's
you
right
go.
above your head, and I'm pointing at
There
it.
you go.
Cool.
So I think that'll be a
So
dope place
professional.
for us to like start with the writing group, and then boom. So you saying that the actual
And-
short film is is available on your
Yeah,
Instagram?
definitely. If you hit me up on Instagram, I'll DM you the link to the YouTube because we are still trying to enter it on like film festival, so it isn't like just like super public. But something I will say, and something I learned from this last project, film and working on film is a very collaborative effort, and as a person that like wants to do everything and wants it to be a complete vision, people come and help you, and it's so humbling. Like we had this lady named Liz. Shout out to Liz. She came and did all our sound for free. We like Connor met her in like a city college class. She's coming doing
Shout
all
out
the
to
sound
the
for
city
free.
colleges.
Another dude named Charleston came and acted, and he brought his own makeup lady. You know what I mean? And she's doing all her makeup. And so, whatever dream you have, just find the community that's doing it, and you'll be surprised if you just ask people to help you how much. I was hella surprised. It was humbling, dude. It was humbling how many people came to help us make that little movie. And it was cool. It was really cool. Of course, I looked at it way too many times and think it's super corny, but I think it came out. Well, me and Paul were talking about that earlier, about when you look at something so many times, you're just not going to like it just off principle,
Yeah. So I'm like, this paper is
How
hella
much do
damn
you? How
hard.
much do you beat that pavement, or how much do you really go back over stuff? Are you
I was
anal to? Are you professional to the point of being anal?
I'm so lucky to have my collaborator not be like me. We're like totally like different. So for me, I really wanted to be like that with the script, and we'd probably still be writing that script right now if
So somebody had to try to pull you away. Okay, good.
my partner is very much the like, dude, we need it by Tuesday.
And that's the kind of person that
everybody
that's a
needs
good
a guy like that.
compliment for you, each of you, because you actually need both of those people in that position.
You need the editor and the creator, right?
Right.
And sometimes, and another advice, if I can give some advice, is do not be editing when you're creating.
No,
Those are two different things. Just create, come back to it the next day, and
that's why stupid jokes about the massage parlor are in. So I'm just telling you. That's it. It's I'm not gonna probably
was a really
say it
good
on
one.
stage.
that was a really
But
good
if I
one.
went back and farmed this podcast, there you go.
Just create, man. Just
Just
create. And then anytime you create, something that really bugs me too is, we do it with our young people too. They start creating things, and you automatically go to how do we monetize this, and how do we scale it, and how do you make money off of it, and I really push against that. Like, create some shit that nobody's gonna see. Create some shit that's ugly and boring and dumb, and just create, man. And don't worry about if people like it and people resonate to it. Cool, that's great. That's amazing. But creating is really the object, or it should be the goal.
Yep.
Hmm. So we got short film. We have your writing. So all of these writings that you're doing, you're going to turn into shorts and stuff like that.
So Dog Day Afternoon, I think, is gonna be a short film.
Mhm.
Stepping Into Darkness was gonna be like an episode, almost kind of like a Twilight Zone episode. Before Us is gonna be a feature film. I'm planning on Boots Riley and like Rafael Casal have this like script writing contest. I'm trying to get it down. I'm trying to enter that, and I'm trying to get it into that. So we'll see what happens. Trying to stay hopeful. But yeah, I even have a. It's cool that you brought up the homie with the comic book, because I got a comic book idea that I've worked on too. But that's hard because you got to have like an artist. Like you got to be really.
I know them art. I will give you his number. He's hella open and like I'm really with collaboration. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you know, I really want you to
Yeah.
exchange numbers with Paul because he's a good resource.
Yeah.
And
Paul's the man.
anybody, you know what I'm saying, that's out there that's fucking with it, you know, holla at Primo and let's get this
Yeah.
community, like for real. Let's bounce.
I'm hella
like, let's
down to
get it
help people.
together.
I'm down to help
Right.
people
I'm down to
whatever I
help
can
too,
help
as
people.
much as I can. So
So many people help me, you know.
that's what's up.
That's how stuff gets started. So
Right, because it's like this what is it? This Friday we have the Odd Fellows. I so like that name. I'm such an odd fella.
That is a cool name.
here,
I'm
throw
such
up
an
your little
odd fella.
Go for it.
You
I
get what I'm
feel like
saying?
odd
I
fella,
feel
too.
like, dude, I'm so odd. Like, you feel me? I'm a eccentric.
There you go. It's
So
the
that's
annual
Yeah.
Yerba Buena Oddfellows Art Show. That's right, November 15th through the 17th here at 26 7th Street in San Francisco. That's right, we're in the basement. You know we're in the basement. Friday night
This
from
is,
5 to 9, light refreshments and wine.
Woo!
Wine. And then
And
we
it's
have
a-
our open house here at Edge Studio. So if you want to check out something or you want to record something, if you just want to play, come check it out this Friday night.
If they want to what?
Come play. They can come sit in here and mock up and do a podcast for 15 minutes.
Oh,
There
that'd
you
be
go.
dope. That'd
I'll
be
let people
fun.
come in here and record and go onto their own channels and record something interesting.
That's hella dope. So, and two, how could they reach you, Paul?
They can do everything that Edge Studio does. You can get us at Gmail. That's right, edgestudiosonline@gmail.com. You can also reach out to us at our phone number, which is 650-503-3435. Again, that's 650-503-3435. And we're at edgestudiosonline.com. Thanks for asking.
Oh, thank you. So holla at Paul. You feel me? It's gonna be popping this weekend. You understand me? They're gonna have a wine going. They're gonna have a podcast going. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be slanging my books and my Ghetto Poet hats for surely.
Wow.
We might have Age come. Let's see.
And we
There's-
might have Pop with some.
Oh yeah, cousin
Some-
Pop. P.O.P. Pop Hill with his really good cupcakes. Last time I had a million of them. I'm trying to stay away from him because I've been in the gym. But when he come, it's gonna be a cheat date. So we're gonna have
about to
cousin
say.
Pop there with his cupcakes. Hell yeah, Pop always fuck with it. Little mama in the club shaking ass and she naked. Cuz me with this shit. I love Cuz. He gonna be up here with his cupcakes.
There you go. And check out everything that Pop does on his stuff, right? And his
His IG.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember.
It should be Pop Hill.
Yeah, it should be. And I was looking at his
Let me bunt your cake.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me
Check
bunt
him out
your
on
cake.
Instagram at Let Me Bunt Yo Cake _ in between everything there. You can order and contact anything there at Cakes and Cupcakes at 707-971-1295. Again, 707-971-1295. And if I had my act together, I'd throw your graphic and your branding up there, but we'll do it next week's show.
Absolutely. Well, you know, we'll be messing around, so maybe Cuz could come up in here with his cupcakes and start his little, you feel me?
Oh, we're going to do a little cupcake podcast.
Dude, he needs to do a song about them cupcakes. Little mama in the club.
What was the cupcake no filling?
Oh
That
yeah,
was
yeah,
something else.
yeah. That's a like a really popular Bay Area cupcake, no feeling.
Yeah.
You know what song it is, though. Jesus.
Damn, I guess I'm not a popular Bay Area person.
Dude, that is the song. Like, I'll play it for you. Nah, the girls had remixed it.
You gotta help me out, man.
Dude,
I'm
no,
slacking
some
in my
chicks,
macking,
they
obviously.
remixed it. It was pretty dope. How you don't know cupcake, no feeling?
So let's make sure we get all everybody's plugs, socials, and up and coming. What you got going?
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. My name is Tony Primo. I'm on Instagram at Zapato Vatos. And pretty much on my Instagram is where you can find all my other stuff. I have a YouTube channel, and that's pretty much it.
What's your YouTube channel, Primo?
I don't know what it is. It's linked on my bio and my Instagram.
And we'll throw it down in the comments.
Yeah, I'll throw it down in the comments because it's not like It's not like a, it's like dot slash whatever WZ, you know.
And then Miss Bella.
Bella, Bella,
Don't
Bella.
follow Martrice, man. That's the person to follow. But like I said, all I got going on right now is I'm working on these stories, and in the spring we usually take time to film a short film. A lot of the people we work with are teachers, and so like that little spring break time, we try to take advantage of that week. Last year was the first week we did it, but we always try to take advantage of that week. So if you're a person that works in the school system or doesn't, and you want to work on a short film, if you cinematography, sound, whatever you want to do, excuse me, yeah, get a hold of me, and shit, we might be down to film your story or help us film our story or whatever. Like I said, we're just trying to build this community.
That's hella dope. So I got one more question for you before we leave.
Right on.
What is your favorite quote?
Oh, I like. I'm big on quotes because I also do a little bit of coaching, coach basketball. So let me make sure I get this one right. There's like says
You want me to tell you mine? Always.
yeah.
always
Hit me
okay.
with yours so it gives me a little time because I want to make
Okay,
sure I say it
boom,
right.
Boom, 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 boom. Let's see, because I have a few of them. I like be therefore wise as a serpent, yet harmless as a dove.
Oh damn.
I know, right? Because it's hard to think like
That was some
if you was like wise
beautiful shit.
as a fucking serpent, you wouldn't need to be violent, right? You could just trick motherfuckers. So you could be wise and like I think wisdom. Damn, I never thought about it like this, but I guess in order to be nonviolent, you would have to have like some extreme wisdom not to punch them. You know what I'm saying? Not to
that
be
reminds me
violent.
of the one where it says it's better to be a soldier in a garden than being a gardener in a war.
Oh,
Kind of reminds me of that one a little bit.
something to ponder.
But the one I like is, and this is the one that I like lived off of, is the kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That one's big, man. That's helped me a lot throughout life.
Say it again. Kids don't.
It said the kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I think a lot of times we trying to put down, knowledge or whatever. It's like, bro, you get a lot further if they know that you care about them.
That one just sent me into like a hell of a different space. Like I'm about to be thinking about that all day.
That's a big one. I like really believe in that one. I really do.
All right, so we have come to our end, and we must say goodbye. Bye bye.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Bye bye bye. Goodbye. Say bye,
Vocals.
Primo.
Vocals. Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening.
See you guys next week.
Thank you. Thank you, Martrice. Thank you, Paul.